Welcome to Your Soul Wisdom, hosted by Yana Amor Manocas. In each episode, we invite you on a transformative journey delving into the profound mysteries and wisdom of the soul. Join us as we explore a wide array of spiritual topics and sacred practices that nurture and heal the soul, from reincarnation and soul contracts to the enigmatic experiences of womb alchemy and astral travel. Our discussions are designed to enlighten, inspire, and deepen your understanding of your own soul's journey. With Your Soul Wisdom, nothing is off limits. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Your Soul Wisdom. Amanda, why are you laughing?
Already?
I don't know.
It's been a pretty funny lead up until now with our sound check, to be fair.
Listen,
I
don't know. It got sexy, it got silly, it got a little bit of a rated R, but like with the swearing content, lots of bleeping that would have to be put in if anybody were to view that. So that was actually a lot of fun, ladies. But today is not about us. We are actually here to answer a bunch of questions that have come in. And before we get to that, I just want to remind everybody, if you're still searching for your spiritual community, if you love the camaraderie that we have on the podcast and you want to come and experience that literally on the daily with us five ladies, plus all the other members of our collective community, head on over to yoursoulwisdomshow.com. That's correct, right? Yoursoulwisdomshow.com.
Yep.
And check it out. We do have 30 days free membership. It is so much fun, and there's healing sessions and monthly calls and all sorts of extra goodies in the portal, and a lot of things that actually Rachel has in the works that are coming up pretty soon. But come join us before our next call and just be a part of the fun. Until then, ladies, are we ready to get into a bit of a Q&A from some questions that came in? We're good. Everybody's...
Yep, we're ready.
Ready, Freddie.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
let's go.
All right. Okay. First question. I'm a nurse and I work with death regularly. Over the years, I've witnessed things at patients' bedsides that I can't explain. Moments of inexplicable calm, people seeming to see or speak to someone who isn't there, and even a strange stillness in the room at the moment of passing. My medical training tells me one thing, but my gut tells me another. How do other people in caring professions reconcile what they witness with what they're supposed to believe? And this is really interesting, right? Because in my soul contract work, I've actually gotten a lot of nurses and doctors that come in that believe both sides of the spectrum, right? Because for a little bit of clarity, you are taught that spirituality or God and science are separate. And in a doctor's office or in the surgery room or anything like that, this is all about science. God has nothing to do with it. So essentially, most nurses and doctors in the health space will believe in just pure science, right? I mean, have you guys had the same experience with other doctors, maybe people you know?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We can't hear you, Rachel, but we love the way your lips
Sorry.
are moving.
I'm so sorry. I'm so professional, obviously. I don't know what to say about that, because I would imagine that most people in those sort of professions really don't have any scope to express anything like that, and quite possibly, as far as their employment's concerned, that it's written in their contracts that they're not allowed to. Do you know what I mean? Like we all of us come from very multicultural countries. I don't know how it would hit. Do you know what I mean? If they were to, I mean, like, this is a personal thing about, this woman's personal experience, but I don't know how I would feel if somebody started to express their spirituality or religion or beliefs or possibilities in the context of a diagnosis or something like that. Like, I don't know. That's a very personal thing to.
Yeah, but there is a difference between spirituality and religion. So is she talking about, we're assuming it's a she. Is this person talking about religion or spirituality? Or is it just the belief in something greater?
Well, yeah, but they're
I
talking
I
about the stillness in the room and the calm and all of those
yeah, so they're
things,
thinking about the death process, the
Yeah,
journey.
Mm.
correct. And the fact
I
that
don't
there's
know, I
something
think
greater happening than just the body
mm.
switching off, really, in a
Right, so
Yeah,
way.
that's more
Yeah,
spiritual than religious.
I would say so.
yeah,
Right.
But
yeah.
I don't
And
know, like, like Rachel's right, in those contexts, even for the families and other people, we do need those people to be doing their jobs, so to speak, and
Yeah.
very much in that professional capacity. Personally, I wouldn't be bothered by someone who said something about, the process. But, I have very broad, and I'm very open minded. I have broad beliefs, right? So I guess when you are in a professional capacity, people need you to be that person that you've trained to be to help them in that situation. Um, and I think, like Rachel said, it is very personal, but I'm sure there are so many nurses, or and or doctors or wherever it may be, that have these experience. Surely.
So this person is trying to figure out how to reconcile the 2 for herself,
Well,
right?
yeah, but
I
I would
think
do my
Don't
own
we
inquiry, right?
and
Like,
don't we
well,
all
I
struggle with that? Like, isn't that just like I struggle with the 3D versus the 5D, or whichever way we wanna word it. Every time I think of it, it's a struggle. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe it just shows up in a healing profession at the end of people's lives because it's such a sort of acute, for want of better words, dramatic time. But isn't that always the struggle?
yeah. But so for me, I would say that you just have to be open to how everybody's journey plays out, because there's going to
Mm,
be many different people from many different walks of life, and that journey is going to be different in how the, say, like the relatives or even people in the room will process it, or even what that person's beliefs are like after they pass. And so I think you just have to be open. I don't think you have to really reconcile anything, because it's not your journey, it's not yours personally, it's that person's journey. And so I think you
mm,
just have to be present, you just have to be a witness, and that's it. You just be
mm,
present as you, and you just allow for the process to happen,
you hold the
you know.
space.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you just hold the space, and I think that's how you reconcile it. You just hold the space. um and
It's like being in
and
on some amazing secret, Like, I mean, it
yeah,
brings me when you're present with knowing that there's more going on. For me, that's a quiet calm that is very powerful. So I really
Mm.
enjoy sitting in that, energy. Um,
yeah,
so maybe it's talking to other people who are in a similar position, or joining a group who talks more about this sort of stuff, because this person may feel very alone with their experience if they don't have other people experiencing it. So, but I know that when I was doing psychic and mediumship development, there was a woman in our group who actually worked in a nursing home because she experienced, these things regularly. And I know doing the psychic and mediumship development really helped her to. I mean, she was incredible at her job and really help it. She sat with those people who were passing. How beautiful.
Mm.
yeah. And I also think as well that you that what was I going to say? I think as well that you get, for you to be able to even sense that or feel it, then you're already aware of another level of frequency, or there's another sort of dimensional reality that's happening for you. It's simple as. And so I once again just say, just be present with it, because I think there's something new that's probably opening up in your life, or there's something changing, there's something shifting. And to be able to witness that process, I think is quite phenomenal.
Mm.
I would say I've had the pleasure of journeying with, and it was the privilege of journeying with a couple of my family when they were passing, and it is just the most amazing thing that you can witness. Whether it's easy or whether it's hard, it's just the most amazing thing that you can just witness. It's all you can do.
When you say journey, can you
Passover.
what do you
When
Well,
they're
no,
going,
I understand, but what I'm saying is, are you? I want to clarify. Are you saying you've been
Mm.
present in the room and you've seen them, make that transition physically,
yes,
or
seen them.
or
Yeah.
okay? Because
No, go on.
when you're saying
Or
journey, in my mind, I'm thinking that you are journeying with that
Accompanying them
spirit
energetically.
as their
no,
transition.
yeah.
Right.
So
I just
no,
wanted to
so I'm not
clarify.
journeying them on the other side and walking them up to the door as such. Not at all. But I mean, for the different processes that they go through, like when my dad was passing, my dad was doing that, whereby he kept coming up out of the bed, and my dad, for the most part, he was like bedridden, couldn't move, but he would have his eyes closed most of the time, and then suddenly he would just open his eyes, and he would be looking above our heads, and he would literally come up out of the bed, and he's looking, and he's almost like he's trying to speak, and he's pointing as if there is somebody above our heads. And when that was happening, although we knew he was in those end stages, we knew he was journeying, so we knew he was seeing people from the other side and things like that. So we knew he was literally going. It was sort of confirmation. And so and so there was that. And so we sang with him and we talked with him, and we just talked over him as well, because he loved to hear our voices and things like that. When he was well and we were all at home for dinner and things like that, he would leave the room because we were so noisy, but he would love to hear our voices from another room. It was wild. Oh yeah, he loved it because he couldn't do the noise.
I feel him.
But
I feel him.
but he could, but just to hear it in the background, that all of us laughing and talking, he knew that settled his heart. He knew that we were all happy, we were
Sure.
good. That was his family. But he couldn't be inside the noise, because Jesus, we were loud, still are. And then when my mother-in-law was passing, it was a whole different journey, um, in the sense that there was a lot of bodily stuff that was happening, and the body was shutting down slowly. So we had to do a lot of things like, wipe her mouth with like sugar, because she couldn't keep her sugar high enough because the body was just going down. And then eventually we were told what the death process would be like. And if people understand the death rattle, she had that. We could hear that. And I literally saw her leave her body. I'd never experienced that before. I literally saw her leave her body, and then I had to wake up everybody around me to, like, she's gone, but her heart was still beating. But by the time we called the nurse in, the nurse said, no, she's gone. We were like, well, her heart's still beating. Like, and the nurse said, no, it's something that happens after death, that it takes time. She says, if you just watch, it will slow down until it stops. It was just beating in her neck. So we thought she was still there, but she was gone. Do you know what I mean? She hadn't seen her gone. And so that was a very different journey. I never got to experience my mum leave. And go. And I really thought I would. But I'm just saying that being part of that journey, and we were with, let's just say my mother-in-law, we were with her for, I think, about 10 days. She journeyed for 10 days, literally. And we were all there. Even the kids came, they would come with all their books, and they would sit in the canteen, and they would wait, and we'd all take turns to go and sit with her in the room, even though she wasn't really able to speak to us. She wasn't conscious in that sense, but we all were there to be present for her to leave.
It's a
So I've
very
witnessed
sacred
death in
space.
3 different ways. Very sacred space.
Yeah.
I've witnessed
There's
it in
nothing quite like it.
3 separate ways. And I've also witnessed the harrowingness of it when someone's gone and you never got a chance to actively say goodbye. So yeah, I just think you just have to witness it if it's not your way of doing it. My best friend is Hindu, and in the burial process was very different to how we bury. And even in the burial process, they have, I forget what they're called, they have this person come in, and this person does prayers, continuous prayers over the body, and everybody's there, and and when I asked her what she was doing, she said that she is facilitating the shift from the body into the higher dimensions. I could literally see what she was doing. And so everybody's present for that moment as that energy is shifting through. It's literally leaving the body and going. So yeah, it's all you can do is be present. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to add your own stuff unless people want to hear it. But I couldn't tell my family that mum had just left, that Mardai had just left. I couldn't tell them that at the time.
Yeah, it's a deeper experience, I guess, for this person on some level. And I, the question says to me that they're somewhat alone in it. So I would connect with someone who works with the transition. I would speak to a medium. I would, something to that effect. Maybe do some development themselves. Maybe do some reading. There is plenty, there are plenty of books, but I think that it's something that they get to sit with themselves and have as a different dimension of themselves, but they don't. It's like the two things can exist at once. Or, they can do their job, but they can also have a deeper belief.
Yeah.
I think that's like a lot of
Okay.
things that we do. Like I know I sit there in a lot of situations, like, and I'm I'm deep in all, the witnessing of all the things that other people can't see. But I quite like that place, so I find I'm comfy there.
All right. Let's go on to our next question. The next listener says, I grew up in a very strict religious household and left the faith in my 20s after a lot of pain. I thought I was done with all of it, but now in my 40s with kids of my own, I feel this pull towards something meaningful that I can't seem to find elsewhere. I'm terrified of going back to something that damaged me, but I'm also tired of feeling spiritually homeless. Where do people like me even begin? Well, the first place
Collective.
is the collective, correct? I think there is, like, we know in our soul contract work that there is that when you're entering your spiritual cycle, right? That 35 to 42, she's in her 40s, and it's all about really digging deep. I think so many people who are brought up in religion, not everybody, some people thrive in it and they need it because of the structure and everything, and that's great. But there is a decent amount of people who felt suffocated. I just had this conversation with somebody today. They felt suffocated in that space and they needed to create their own kind of belief system, right? Kind of like, I feel like that's where I kind of went. I grew up in a Greek Orthodox home. My parents weren't overly religious, but everything was Greek, church, this and that. And there were a lot of times I'd be in church and I would be like, I don't agree with what is being preached right now. I find it hypocritical. I find it wrong. I just don't, it doesn't mesh with me. And so, but I had the freedom to then go, okay, what does feel right for me? And, you get to pick and choose. But I think finding people who are also on that same journey is going to be like step one, right? Because it helps you kind of like start to question or think about what works for me. What do I like? What am I drawn to? And kind of following that lead. What do you ladies think?
Absolutely.
I'm still so stuck on the freaking question. Because honestly, what comes up for me is I'm thinking, I'm not into the concept of religion as a concept for me personally, but I just can't help thinking that I don't know how religions damage people, but I do know how religious people, stroke men, damage people. Do you know what I mean? So I just wonder if this poor person's just not been traumatized by the experience of religious people, and I would love her or them to be able to separate that out, like right from the beginning. I don't know. I wasn't brought up in any kind of religious household. Can religion be dangerous without the people?
Of course.
Okay, can you? I'm not trying to be a pain in the ass. Can you give me an example so I can
How many
understand?
religions that do you know that are very restrictive? And they say only our belief is the right belief. And if you're gay, you can't get buried, right? Or you can't have your death
Okay.
service in a church. If you get divorced, it's a sin.
You're not allowed to take contraception.
Right.
But hold on, and a lot of those things are written by man. I think that's what Rachel is.
Yeah, but
getting.
religion is a man-made construct. It is a man-made thing.
He's a man. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. It didn't just appear. It didn't just happen. It didn't just form all by itself.
Yeah, I haven't read enough religious texts to really
No,
like
I'm
go
just not
further. But
familiar
is it the
enough either.
interpretation? Because remember when we had Farley on talking about the 10 Commandments, and I was literally in tears because to me they were so beautiful the way she explained them. But it's the interpretation of those things that people have taken into the world that are not really their true essence. So I'm wondering, where does all that?
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Have you
Yeah.
ever heard anybody else talk about the 10 Commandments the way Folly did?
No, but no, I get
Which
it. So
means, which means that the
yeah,
way it's been taught and the way that most people
yeah.
believe in it and view it is that very restrictive, black and white. This is all that that is.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, but so it's kind of both. But to Rachel's point, like I do understand what she's saying about it being the way people instruct it, portray it, deliver the messages. Do you know what I mean? It's through their lens, their perspective, their teachings, rather than
Yeah, of
maybe the
course.
true essence of it. Yeah.
Every religion believes that their faith is the correct faith.
Jews
There's no
don't.
religion. What'd you say?
Jews don't.
Jews don't believe what?
That
You
this
think
is the
Jews
correct
believe that-
faith. They believe that everybody should have their own path, and same with Buddhists. They don't believe that everybody should be
Hold on a
Buddhist.
second.
Also, Hindus don't believe.
Jewish people believe that they're the chosen people and they're the ones that never left aside or betrayed what they call how they refer to God as Hashem, right? And
Yep.
so Jewish people are very, especially in the Orthodox Jewish community, they stick to their own. They're very strict in their structures. I mean, everything is very restrictive.
You're not.
And so,
I'm not debating that, but they don't think their religion is better than anybody else's. And yes, they are the chosen people of their God.
right,
And also just
right.
to
So
clear up this chosen people thing, like they don't feel like they're chosen as in the way that people that aren't Jewish think they're chosen. Jews experience being chosen as almost like a burden responsibility. And that they have been chosen to be the best people that they can be, to not let God down, for want of better words. It's a burden. It's not something like they think they're special and they get benefit. It's that they think they need to do better.
I understand,
anyway,
but in the Jewish belief system, just the way the Orthodox and the Catholic, they're all taught to believe that their way is the way. That's the way
for them, but not for other people.
Of course. I'm not taught that the Jewish culture is better than mine, but I am taught that the Greek Orthodox way is the right road to
for
God.
And Greeks.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Every religion has that same idea that their road, their belief system is the right one, that's the one you're supposed to follow. No religion goes.
Anyway, we can just disagree about it, darling.
Okay. Well, listen, as somebody who grew up with religion in my home, and someone who's got friends of all faiths, right? As you do as well. This is a conversation that I've had most of my life. Where they're all taught. What is everybody else here? Anybody else? I'm Greek Orthodox. Anybody else a different religion here that they have followed maybe for a portion of their life?
Yeah,
and just for the record, viewers, I'm not a religious Jew. I'm a cultural Jew or a racial Jew or whatever that is.
But I do understand what Rachel is saying, though. There are some religions that are more accepting of other religions.
Islam,
yeah. So like when you compare Buddhism to something else, they're very different vibes. So I think
aside from Buddhism, name me another one. I just want clarity, because what you guys are saying to me feels completely backwards, but that's just my experience. So I want to understand it.
I've got to find the word. It's a word which it starts with P, and for some reason my pyramidal mind can't remember it. But it's basically, there's two types of religions. There's basically one type of religion that tries to get you to join their team, and another type of religion which is you're either in the team or you're not, but there's no joining it. Do you know what I mean? Or, like they're not trying to recruit. Yeah. And so I think there's very different vibes.
They're not really
You know,
trying to recruit anybody.
Islam
You really
and
can't get in.
Catholicism are trying to recruit actively, clearly, visually, absolutely upfront, trying to recruit because they believe that they're saving people and theirs is the way. But there's lots of religions that just aren't like that.
Okay.
That makes
Well,
So,
sense.
you know, Hindus are a
Can I-
huge religion and they are absolutely not like that.
Yeah.
So-
They're not out there really. Well, Hindus are not really out there recruiting anybody. They're just
No,
doing,
you can't. You're either
They're
born
just doing
a
their
Hindu
thing.
or you're not.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
another
You're just
thing. That's
doing
what I
your
mean. You
thing.
can't join it. So, yeah.
Anyway,
You're not. But
But
can I just
whatever.
say, can we just get back on track of the question? Can I just
Yeah.
say that, and I'm going to paraphrase a Kylie phrase, that this person that has asked, they are 40 years old, and at 40 years old, you get to choose. This is Kylie's phrase. You get to choose. And so I don't really think that you should be in the past of anything of what your family was, because you get to choose. You get to go out there and look and feel what's out there and what sits right for you. And if something doesn't sit right, then you have the right to move away from it. You may have liked it in the beginning. You may have even just gone there purely just to meet somebody another friend who is also changing and growing just like you. And then you may move on to all these different types of things. I came from a spiritual family, but the kind of spiritual stuff that I moved off into from in my teens, my family wasn't doing that at all. When I moved into, say, meditation and tarot cards, nobody in my family read tarot or did meditation or did trance meditation or did anything like that. And so I was really, truly bringing something new into my family. And so even when I was doing aromatherapy, I was bringing something new. My mum worked with oils, but not in that way. So she worked with oils that would have had a name that might have said path cutter, but she didn't really know what was in the path cutter. Now I knew from aromatherapy oils exactly what each different one was doing. That's what's gone into creating that particular oil. Do you know what I mean? So what I'm saying is that you get to choose. Just get out there and have some fun. Pick up
Get
some
curious.
books. Get curious. Go to maybe a physical bookshop. They do still exist. Go to a physical bookshop and set your intent that I'm going to walk through the whatever part of that bookshop it is that does whatever, and what I need will come out. It will fall out, or I will be drawn to it. And that's what will happen. And that's where you begin. And that's the beginning of your journey. You get to choose.
Can I jump in?
Yes,
this
please.
one?
Yes.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
I resonate with this question because I was brought up in a ridiculously religious household, to the point where I completely shunned it. And then I went down the path of spiritual, awakening. And then I converted. I converted to Orthodoxy 13 years ago. And I know that I picked a religion based on my husband and his belief system, and I know that church would disown me in a heartbeat if the priest knew what I was doing right now. I absolutely know that. But the thing is that while the church might disown me and disagree with me, I know that God doesn't, right? And I'm not preaching to the priest. I'm not preaching to the congregation. Could not give two shits, two middle fingers up. But I'm there because I can't understand the service, number one, but I get beautiful space. It's in Serbian. I don't know what the hell he's saying. I have heard the translation and it's very racist, but that's okay. And Yana will know with the Greek sisterhood there. I understand.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, sorry, I shouldn't have spoken about that outside of the church. But I'm sitting there in this beautiful sacred space with the rituals of the frankincense and the blessed water, and I feel at peace doing that because I'm internally having my own religious conversation or my own sermon versus listening to a man tell me, Anyway, I won't share. So, it's I think that it is your choice. You can make outside a church go sit under a
That's
tree. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be a formal setting. It can be whatever resonates with you and have your own conversations. But I chose the church because of that. And also the community was a big factor as well.
Yeah.
So, and I have come out to a lot of those people and we sit in the corner and we talk about it so that no one else can hear. But that's okay.
Can I say, can I just throw in there
Oh,
in the
no.
back of what Kylie's saying, because you said make your own church. The mere fact that this question is coming to us means that this person is probably quite diverse in their ways and thinkings and what's coming up for them. So I do not think that church is for them or religion is for them. I don't
No,
know
it's
if they are, but
community.
I'm just going to say this. It is community. So it's going and finding things that you may like, you go and try it, you go and train. I've made some of my bestest friends and lifelong friends out of trainings. You know, you guys. Do
I was waiting for that. I was like,
you know what I mean?
Hello.
So, um,
In particular?
so yeah, I just think that now comes the time in your life whereby this is your beautiful journey to discovering you, to remembering you, to coming into who you need to be. And maybe you were born into a family that was so religious, so that was so strictly religious, because you needed to learn how to burst out of that place and become your own. And listen, get to it.
Yeah.
Do it and have fun.
Love it.
Doesn't have to be serious.
Yeah.
Get to it.
And all I would say at the end is really 3 hours in nature, which is a long time for most people, is going to give you whatever you're looking for on the feels way, regardless if you the intellectual realizations about anything. But whatever you're looking to feel, you'll get it 3 hours in nature somewhere.
okay. Well, listen, this next question, nobody say anything. Amanda, you can talk. This is Kylie. This is Kylie. You're getting on stage. You ready?
Yeah, let's have it.
Okay. This viewer said, my teenage daughter has become deeply interested in witchcraft and paganism. She's researching it seriously and seems genuinely fulfilled by it. I don't share her beliefs, but I want to be a supportive parent. My family is horrified and putting pressure on me to put a stop to it. How do I protect my daughter's spiritual exploration while also managing very real family conflict? The question went a little bit different than I thought I was going to go, but Kylie, please.
I have a 12-year-old daughter who often, probably once a month, comes home and asks to do a Ouija board. So, and they do, they're stiff as a board, light as a feather with other gaggle of girls. And then it's a full on, like they've got a coven starting. I already see it. Look, I think it's okay to be curious, but you get to also, question why she's going into it. What's the interest there? And if you don't have any background on it, it's the same as religion, right? If there's a kid that has an interest in a religion, are you going to sit there and tell them, no, you need to stay with what you know? And 2 middle fingers up to family that doesn't care, about it or don't support it. I'm sorry. But your kid is your most important asset, with their expression. It's their life. It's their choice. It's not grandma's choice. It's not auntie's choice, whatever.
Okay, so I have a
I
question.
don't know. I'll struggle with these Q&As. I'm not going to
Hold on. Are you, because I've always been told stay away from Ouija board.
Yes.
A lot can go wrong with a Ouija board. And so if my daughter came to me as a teenager or 12-year-old, however old this child is, and said, Mom, I want to get into it. I want to learn all about it. I want to access it. I want to use it. Of course I support my daughter, but there would be really hard brakes pressed.
Yeah, look.
Can I just throw something in here? Just please. I do think we need to make a distinction between witchcraft and the occult. It's two different things.
Right.
It's two different things. The Ouija board is the occult. Is occult work. It's not witchcraft, because witchcraft has been minimized down to this over the years. Minimized down to this. And witchcraft is so much more than what people say is witchcraft and occult is two different things. So with that in mind,
Right.
Can you just educate us a bit then, Amanda, with the broad
educate.
what your yeah,
Educate.
I was a little can you just tell us the difference between witchcraft and the occult broadly then?
So the witchcraft, so occultism is really dabbling. Let's just say the Ouija board is dabbling in um in spirits and things like that from like the astral plane, and it is calling up and using in a sense other people's spirits and dead things and dead bodies and all other kinds of things. It requires it does require sometimes spells or even incantations and different things like that, and different ceremonies. You can actually create things within it in the sense of,
So is it like to be like you're making it sound like I don't know, but you're making it sound like it's not for salubrious things, like it's not for you wouldn't be getting into a cult because you wanted the world to be a better place.
no.
Well, no, but hold on. I want to clarify what you're saying, Amanda. Actually, to me, sounds more on the witchcraft end, where occultism, if I'm somebody correct me, occultism
Yeah.
is the desire to be in that spiritual space. Like essentially, soul contracts
Occult.
would fall under occultism, not a
Yes,
cult.
that's what, no, but no, yes, that's what I'm saying. But that's what they've done. But it doesn't fall under occultism. It doesn't fall under that. Maybe there needs to be a third group, but it does not fall under occult. For
Okay, but
want of a better
occultism is
word,
about
that's where they grouped everything that they could not find other ways of expressing it. So if you wanted to look into, say, I don't know, it was let's just say I don't know, even if it's the rods. If you want to find a book on the rods, you have to go to the occult part of the shop. And it doesn't fall under
Well,
occult
yeah.
because rods were originally used to divine for water,
Mm-hmm.
No, I get that.
right?
But just by the way, I had heard the definition of occult before, and so I just looked it up again, and it's knowledge of the hidden. So it the occult explores mysteries, unseen forces, esoteric spiritual truths meant only for the initiated,
Yeah. Okay.
is
But
the
what I'm talking
Wikipedia
about is what is
definition.
actually in it. Because I have
Mm.
I have studied the occult. Do
Yeah,
you know
well,
what I
it
mean?
sounds like it's a pretty
So
broad umbrella,
it
and
is
I
of the
wonder if like
um and
yeah,
I'll tell
that
you
kind of
something, there's
thing. So
nothing out of it. Well, I wouldn't have said there's anything out of it that comes good.
Well,
When it comes
then
to
why don't you help us with the witchcraft? Yeah.
yeah,
right.
that's what I
So
think. I feel like occult covers everything, and witchcraft is something specific.
when it comes to witchcraft originally was literally earth magic, and
Mm.
was used by
It's like
women of the
alchemy.
villages. And yes, alchemy was used of villages. The women would be used to heal, and things like that. It wasn't used for what people talk about now in terms of witchcraft. And there was no white witchcraft and black witchcraft. It was simply, I guess, witchcraft, and it wasn't even called witchcraft. It was just, you were literally called, like I would know, a medicine woman, and that was how you worked for the village. Because look at it, let me put it to you like this: you see medicine, how it used to be back in the day. Medicine was purely herb based. It
Mhm.
was purely herb based. And then
right.
obviously Big Pharma came in and switched that all around. It's using the exact same herbs that
hmm
that was being used from back in the day to now make it in a way what they consider to be legal, and we control it all, and this is how we're
Right.
going to do it, right?
They do a
So
synthetic version of the herb properties because you can't patent herbs,
right,
something that grows. So they make
exactly.
their
And
own
then they
version
made
of
it,
that.
yes, and then they made herbalism illegal to practice in that sense, right? And so witchcraft was a case of using the elements. You were working with using the elements, whether it was earth, water, fire, air, and all those different types of things, in order to heal and do, I guess, do all other kinds of things. I don't know. There's a big difference that I do know. There's a huge difference. I don't know if I've
Mm.
explained it well enough, but there's a huge difference. But throughout the years, you know, everybody got done for the witchcraft trials. Nobody got done for occultism. And occultism
Yeah.
has run many of the royal families throughout time. Throughout time. But no one's ever got done for that.
So this question also mentioned paganism. Where does that sit in everything? Just so that we're all really clear.
Is paganism the Druids?
Okay, here. I
Yeah,
have
I'm
the
not sure.
definition of paganism.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh,
great.
cool.
Paganism is a broad umbrella term encompassing various nature-based, polytheistic, or animistic spiritual paths, as well as the revival of ancient pre-Abrahamic religious practices. I don't even know what that means.
It means
Modern,
that it's based on nature and animals, and it predates Jews, Christians, and Islams.
I get
Oh.
that, but it says generally emphasize reverence for the earth, personal spiritual freedom, and the belief that the divine manifests in all aspects of the natural world.
I think I'm a pagan, and I never knew that. Holy crap!
Right.
Oh, this
Well,
is
I mean,
fun.
I feel seen. Where do I find some pagans in Adelaide?
But doesn't paganism
They're my
but
people.
doesn't paganism right, but doesn't paganism when people were generally called pagans was because they were generally said that they don't believe in God.
God.
Yeah,
God,
like
God.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they believed
Well, they had
in
multiple nature-based gods.
and nature-based
mono
gods
god.
and things like that. So you've got the god Pan and Pan and all of that different types of stuff. Okay.
Mm.
Going back to the question, for me, if this was my daughter, because I've got a fair understanding for me about the different worlds that these things exist in, if it's going into say Luigi boards and things like that, for me it's a big fat no, because you're meddling with the astral plane, and you're meddling with a lot of portals and holes and things like that where nothing good comes of it.
Would you be telling the 12-year-old this though? Like, would you be using
I
language
would
like
be
that?
explaining this to them
Okay.
Mm.
in the sense
And
that
Kylie says no.
well,
By the way,
Kylie's shaking her head.
No.
I would never. No, because you know what? I
You-
don't think that they're mature enough to handle that kind of knowledge. So I'd politely disagree.
Mm.
So what would you say then? Are you saying no, are you saying that you would say no, you're not messing with Luigi boards?
Yeah, I just tell her, look, it's very complicated and I prefer you to explore other options. So we are currently planning a haunted hike and I'm like, I have control over that. I'll be there with her. She's not going to go hiking on her own because she's scared. So at least I'm with her to have some sort of supervision on what's going on, because I know the minute that someone gets a Ouija board in their hand, she's going to be all over it. But I'm just trying to direct her little by little, educate her as we go. But she does call
does
like,
she-
well, what do you know? And I haven't come out to her yet. So, because she would probably
So you
But
see,
tell me why
you
she
see-
wants the
okay,
Ouija board. Does she want to connect with spirits? Like, is it actually her putting that together, or is it like a game? I want to play the game.
She wants
Or
to
is
see
she-
proof.
yeah.
And that's her proof thing, is that the thing moving
intriguing.
around the board.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think therein lies a difference, because I think that for me, my children have always so they've always known about me, even if they were young and didn't know. You know, I would take them through meditations. I would literally have books and meditations and things like that for children. I used to have these little fairy statues by the door. We used to have angel cards. So even if they never really understood it, they understood that I was different.
Well, and you were brought up in a house where spirituality was
And I was
very
brought up
open
in a
and a
house
part of
that
your
by-
everyday.
Exactly. But bearing in mind, I went through a part of my life when my children were very young, whereby I had to shut that down and lock it off. So it's when I was able to move out, when they were about, I say maybe they were about 4, 5, and maybe 2 and things like that, I was able to start to build that back into into their lives, which is why I said that I got to a point where my daughter, when she was in her early teens, said to me that she doesn't believe in God. And I thought, Jesus Christ, where have I gone wrong? And she said, well, Mum, you never really spoke to us about God. You spoke to us about fairies and angels and this and that.
Mermaids.
And so I believe in fairies and angels and things like that. She says, but God, I don't know who that is. Do you know what I mean? So that was why I was like, oh, didn't even realize that was happening. But I'm a very, very different person. So for me, I'm in that sense whereby she came home and said, well, listen, Mum, I want to do the Luigi boards. Listen, let me tell you, I'd have said, anyhow, you go anywhere near that. But that's just me, because that's how I do my do. That's just me.
Same.
It's not how anybody else is doing. And because she knows me, I say, anyhow, you go near that nonsense, and you start coming home and you're afraid to sleep and you're afraid to do this, telling you, mean you can go down that road and only one of us are going to come back. So let's not go down there. Yeah.
But for this
I'd have
question,
said,
right?
end of.
This person may not have your knowledge, either of you, right?
Mm.
Or, you know,
Well,
so
it seems pretty clear, doesn't it?
yeah. So what I would suggest is to be interested and go on the journey with her, and create a space where she feels comfortable sharing everything, so that you can actually be aware of what's going on and adjust for safety. But to me, you either need to research it yourself or speak to someone who knows about these things, but go on the journey together, I think, is probably the best way.
Yeah, because the minute you say no, the minute you've lost them. I'm sorry. They're going to be out sneaking behind your back.
They were
stealing
sneaking
it
around, yeah.
from the bookstore, like becoming a felon, and they're going to be talking to demons. I'm just saying.
When I was a teenager, I bought a tarot card deck. It was my first one, and my mum made me throw it out.
Yeah, that was me too.
Really?
Mhm.
Okay. Because I was going to say,
as a teenager.
if are there more sort of, you know, there's softer things that you can direct them towards, like tarot. I mean, like, there's not any spirits entering anyone with tarot, is there?
I introduced them to star signs first, so
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, so they're really big into the star sign. They connect to their rising and whatever. They know we do cards. They know we have crystals. We talk about God. We talk about animals showing us they're present by the cloud color. Like I weave it in very subtly. Yeah, so like if we have an animal, because animals passing is really traumatic for kids, right?
Yeah.
So I always say, so-and-so saying hello.
And adults, by the way.
I know.
Yeah.
Because of the pink clouds, right? So I'm like, oh, look, so-and-so's here to say hi to you. And they're like, oh, hi. And they wave at the clouds, you know?
Wait, okay. So, okay. Now that your children are how old?
Yeah, I've got 12, 11, and 8.
Okay. At 12, 11, and 8, when they see the pink cloud, do they still go, oh, someone's trying to talk to me? Or now are they like, okay, Mom, you were full of shit?
No, they still believe in that. Like, and now we add people to the clouds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very lovely.
Yeah. But can I just say something as well? That, okay. So, I think, and I just want to say this because it's me, right? And everybody's very, very different, right? So years ago, my daughter was an avid reader. Oh my God, she could read everything in a day. And there was a particular author, I'm not going to mention the author, but there was a particular author that she really liked. And everybody was reading this author because she was really famous, really well known, obviously famous.
We all know the author.
She had loads of books.
Well, one of two ways.
She had loads and loads of books. Until one day my daughter came and asked me a question about something that was in the book. And when I heard what this book was about, I just said, what the flying hell? And I just said, and when I looked at this book, I just said, listen, that's the end of you reading any of those books. I must have had about, 20 other books. And I said, that's it. And I carted every single one of those books into recycling. It was done. It's a done
I want to know what the book is. I thought we were going down
what was that made you go no?
Sorry?
What was it?
Oh my God. This woman was talking about young girls, teenagers climbing out of their bedrooms and going off and getting pregnant, or they were talking about suicide and drugs.
Yeah.
It
This
was
is not what I thought.
It
thought it
was
was Harry
no.
Potter.
yeah.
Not what I thought.
Yeah, I
No,
thought it was
I
Harry Potter.
love Harry Potter. No, it wasn't Harry Potter. No. And I just said, yeah, no. It was like, it was like teenage pregnancies and all of that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And she's like 13, 14 years old. And you don't know how they're going to take these things, whether or not they're going to big it up and they're going to do all of this kind of thing. And I just said, when she asked me the question, I said, why are you asking me this question? She said, well, it's in my book. And do you think this could happen? Like, I was like, what the hell? So when I looked at it, I just said, no, this is not what I thought. No way. So I gathered that up and it was in the recycling bin. And she was, Mum, that's all the books, that's all that money. And I said, and I don't give a flying toenail.
Wow.
It's out.
They're very different on our parenting styles, Amanda.
And well, and she did not. We talk about it now and we laugh about it, but she did not. I think my kids are more frightened of me than they were of the actual, maybe the author themselves or doing that kind of madness themselves. Do you know what I mean? So it was not happening. And don't go, no bogeys and no ghosts to my yard because, like, I don't be dealing with that nonsense. Do you know what I mean? So you leave it outside the door.
That's right. Far, far away. Someone else's door. Okay. Let's get through another question before it's time to go. Okay. Next question from our listener. I recently visited a famous spiritual site in Brazil where millions of people consider deeply sacred, but I felt absolutely nothing. No awe, no connection, no sense of something greater. I came home feeling almost lost or like there was something spiritually deficient about me. Do certain places and practices just not work for certain people, or was I simply not ready to receive it? I love this question. And if I could throw, like, I feel like I can absolutely relate to this person because when I went to Turkey, we had the opportunity to go to Cappadocia. Cappadocia is like on this mountain. It's a very sacred, apparently there's tons of portals and all this spiritual action. And they do the hot air balloons and your hotel's in a cave. I mean, it is really cool. And I remember being like, this was probably like 10 years ago. Can't wait. I'm going to have this whole experience. I'm going to feel it all like running through my veins. Got there, felt nothing. It was beautiful. It was amazing. It was as magical in the 3D sense as you would expect. But I got nothing from the spiritual sense or portals or anything at all. Nothing. And I went there with the open mind to experience something and I received nothing. So if someone has some kind of answer to this, I'm ready for it.
I've had the same experience. I can remember being so excited to go to Central Australia and go to Uluru, and I was just like strapped in for just the most amazing time. And it's beautiful, and I could see that it was beautiful, but I didn't even get a vibe. You know what I mean? Like. And then the flip side of it is I can remember, and this has happened several times, that I can remember one time really dramatically, I was in Japan and I was going to this, it was again a beautiful thing. It was 1,000 golden Buddhas in this one building that was completely built of wood, as in there was no metal, everything was wood, and it was built in the 11th century or something. So it was an extraordinary experience. You couldn't take any photos or anything like that. But again, I was just going there to see the beauty in an artistic way. And I'm not joking. As soon as I walked into that building, I wasn't sobbing, but my face was wet. My shirt was like the tears were just streaming the whole way I was walking down past all of these Buddhas. And that's not what I was there for. But I had this really almost overwhelming experience in there. So it's sort of like expect it when you least expect it.
Yeah, but maybe is it a vibrational thing that it resonates with a frequency that you hold,
or needed healing at the time or something?
Yeah. But the other thing is, I think sometimes when you get so built up about something, then maybe your expectations don't match whatever it is you would have received if you had just not been so, like, there's so much pressure on that experience.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right. So to answer the part of the question, obviously
we feel you.
It's not just you.
Yeah, it's not you.
Yeah, it's everybody else. It's other people. Look, I'm not a big fan of Egypt. My brother went to Egypt, and he has this. He is so in love with Egypt, and he came back with all these, all those sort of like what they call it, what's it, parapras or parapras, or whatever it is.
Papyrus.
Papyrus. Well, look at that. And he came home. He had about 20, 30 of them, of these pictures of all these different ancient kings, and they were all framed all over his house. And I was like, and he was like, Mandy, look at my room. This is amazing, this energy. And I was like, oh my God, I do not like Egypt. I said, if you only knew the things that went on there and the things that happened, I said, it's not my space. And every time I was in that room, I was just like, oh my God, I don't like this space. Don't like it, don't like it, don't like it. So I wasn't in awe. Having said that, would I want to go Egypt? Yeah, maybe. Maybe I might feel or pick up something different. I don't know. Is it on my bucket list? I don't know. And it's really funny because my husband's been to Egypt already, and there's not a chance he's going back. So I don't know if I would ever go to Egypt. I don't know if I'd have to go with something else. But
Girls trip.
my memory of it though is very different. And I guess I'm pretty sure I've had good lives there, but my more prominent memories of it is, I'm not a big fan.
What about you, Kylie?
You know what? I think every place that I've been to that's kind of bigger historically or whatever, I just allow myself to feel the emotion there. Like, even if it's good or bad, I still let myself immerse in it. I have no connection to Gettysburg, for example, but I remember standing in that field having a moment. My husband's like, are you okay? And I'm like, don't you just feel this? Like, and he's like, not really. Let's go to the gift shop. I'm like, okay. But I tap into everything everywhere I go. I'm like, man, like, think about what just happened here. You tap into it and you can let yourself kind of sink into it. I enjoy the experience of it, even though I don't connect with it.
But for this person, this question, I'd say you're not deficient. There was just nothing in it for you at that time. Maybe
there's nothing
it didn't resonate with your frequency. Maybe you haven't had any past lives there.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah. Or there's nothing that you need from it. But I'll tell you what I find really, really fascinating. Some of my kids went to a secondary school that I went to when they were older, when they were in sixth form. And it's only now that they've started to realize and look back in it and realize that they were walking over ground that I walked on when I was their age. And it blows my mind for me to think that when I was in those rooms at the age that I was, it never occurred to me, the thought that my children would walk these grounds, sit on these chairs, be in these classrooms that I was in like 30 or something, whatever years ago. I find that like, oh my God, that just grows the hair on my body, that they would walk those grounds. So, and if time is not linear and everything's happening in that now moment, I've been moving in that space as well as my children has been moving in that space at the same time, just different realities. That blows my mind. That gives me goosebumps.
All right. So takeaways?
Not takeaways, deficient. You're not deficient.
Wasn't for you.
Wasn't for you.
No, just wasn't for you.
Maybe not the right frequency or not the right time, or just, Yeah. No stress about it.
And it just depends what that particular symbol was about. Sometimes, can I just throw in here, and I don't want to take us down a rabbit hole. I see the time, but I'm just saying.
Yes, so we can't go down that hole.
There are certain places that have been hijacked. There are certain places whereby those portals are no longer what we think those particular, let's just say, stargates are. And so they're no longer really carrying that energy, but everybody gets swept along with the mania about it. And it could be that it may be that sometimes you tap into, something's not quite right here. Something's not quite right. And energy is a bit disjointed for me. But anyway, so that's the story.
Maybe they were feeling past the hype.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this. I feel like this was a little bit of a heavier energy
questions.
thing. Yes. And so we got
It started
those.
off light.
We did we? I think we started off with
We're all sort of
beforehand.
genuinely spiritual, I think. They weren't relationship based, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
right.
So,
If you're interested in a reading, a healing, a guided meditation session, a light body activation, or you want to talk about religion with Rachel, head
hi.
on over to yoursoulwisdomshow.com. She may have more perspectives that I just don't share at the present moment. If you want to
Anna's
join
clearly
the
let that go.
if you want to join the collective, now's the time. I don't know what you're waiting for. Come join us, 30 days free. Our next call is coming up soon. It's all about all the Claires. You're going to love it. Have we announced that yet? Or maybe not.
We just
Okay.
did.
That's okay. Okay, until then, everybody, thank you for allowing us to create this beautiful space, and we hope you have a blessed day. Bye, everybody.
You bye.
Bye, everyone.